Arrived at our final session, and so let me tell you what we are going to be doing and with whom. This is our Young Endeavour presentation. The Young Endeavour Youth Scheme, run by the Royal Australian Navy, provides young Australians aged between the ages of 16 and 23 with a unique, challenging and inspirational experience at sea aboard the National Sailing Training Ship, the Young Endeavour. The RFSA has sent young members on the Young Endeavour for a couple of years now, and we've got three of our previous participants to come and have a chat with us together with our President, Scott Campbell. So let me introduce them to you and tell you a little bit about them. We have Beck here. Beck Boschma was a 2024 recipient from Moore Street RFP in the Tamworth District and joined a voyage from Geelong to Hobart in January and February earlier this year. I can tell you that Beck is a local. She's from these parts. She brings her dog Dusty to her job site daily, currently completing the night school component of a builder's license, and if she had more free time, she would love to get back into playing the guitar. She described herself to me as a big believer in exposure therapy to expand one's comfort zone. She had a fear of heights, so she went skydiving twice, and she's really nervous about public speaking, so she agreed to do this. Please welcome Beck. Thank you, Beck. I hope you don't. I hope you're not regretting that. Let me tell you about the others before we get down to the questions. We have got Royden Campbell here in the middle. Royden was a 2024 recipient from Kingswood RFP, also in the Northwest, and journeyed from Hobart to Sydney in February 2025. His first job was for OHE Fabrication in Ballina, which led to a metal fabrication apprenticeship with Dorso's Engineering here in Tamworth at the age of 16. He enjoys working out at the gym, boxing and kickboxing, is currently studying to obtain his commercial pilot's license, and is aiming to be part of the RFS aviation team with Colson's. If there's anyone from Colson's in the room, good to know. And if there isn't, let them know. He also plays the bagpipes and enjoys sitting with his grandmother, who he calls Mama, and learning how to knit. Oh. Thank you for sharing that, Royden. And last but not least, we have Tom Norman. Tom was one of the first recipients in 2023, sailed in April 2023. He's from Ilabo, RFP near Junee. I can tell you that Tom loves running marathons, trail runs, is currently training for an Ironman. He has not had a hot shower for the last 3 years. He's a cold showers guy. He's an ice bath guy. Milo would be very proud of you. He also is a fifth-generation farmer. His family's been farming their land since 1909. Also, the fifth generation of his family to be protecting their township as part of the Royal Fire Service, and that's been going on since 1909, going back various generations. He's a competitive rope skipper, representing Australia at 5 rope skipping world championships. He also enjoys studying the work of Winston Churchill and reading Winston Churchill biographies. He'll fight them on the beaches. He's Tom Norman. Welcome, Tom. Let's start. I'm going to throw to you, Scott, to set the scene for us. Tell us why the RFSA started sending young RFS members on the Young Endeavour. How did that all come into be?
Yeah, so so leadership programs throughout the RFS, I think, for our young members is severely lacking, and it's something that we can definitely build upon. We had a state councillor, Gary Barton, who lived down on the south coast, and his property overlooked the ocean. He had a passion. His passion was trains, but his passion was also leadership, community engagement, and all those things that Gary invested a lot of time in. Sadly, he passed away, and he bequeathed some money to the association with instructions that I would know how to look after it. And so that became the Gary Barton Memorial Scholarship. I've always had an interest in the Young Endeavour and what it brought, and I thought, well, what a great idea that we could put a couple of young members on there each year. That's continued to grow with Sharon's leadership as well. We could lock that money away, which will ensure this program can't be touched by anything else, and it'll continue for many, many, many years. Which and what we see from the young Endeavour kids when they get on the boat, and by the time they get off, I know it's a boat, it's a ship, it's a tug, it's something. What is it? You can tell me what it is. A ship or a boat?
It's a ship.
Excellent. There we go. We'll carry on with ship from here on in. So yeah, that's how it started.
Scott, staying with you, I know that you go and meet these young people, and not just these. You meet as many of them as you can as they return after each voyage. When you chat with them, what difference do you feel it makes to them? I'll ask them that, but I'm interested from your perspective. What's the impact of it?
Yeah, so when we meet them before we put them onto the ship, we have lunch with them and their families. We talk about what they want to achieve from their journey, what they think it will bring. We talk about Gary Barton himself, so they've got some kind of idea of what Gary was about and where it come about. For me, when we meet them coming back, it's quite bizarre, really, because Sharon and I go to as many as we can, and it's as they come into the dock, they're all up on the mast, they're waving, and we kind of adopt them for that little period and look for them, take lots of photos, and it's kind of a really proud adopted parent moment when you see them coming in on top of the masts, because it is quite high, and I certainly don't think I would climb up there, and I'd rather jump out of a plane than climb that mast.
All right, thanks, Scott. Let's get to you guys. Beck, take the deep breath. Give her a round of applause. She's come up on stage. They've all come up on stage. You've got this. Before I get to the questions about the ship, tell us just very, very quickly, I'll ask each of you, how did you get into the RFS? What's the background? How did that happen?
Well, my mum... Is this working? Yeah. My mum started in the RFS when I was younger, and so I saw her going off to fires, and I thought that was pretty badass. So I decided when I was 16 I wanted to give it a go, and sort of drifted a bit in and out of interest. The junior program wasn't quite set up, at least not in my brigade, quite well at that point, and then got my BF and got old enough and started going to more fires and VF and AF, and yeah, really into it, really excited to keep going with it.
Royden, same question for you. How is it that you come to be in the RFS?
I think mine's a little bit more interesting, so...
We'll be the judge of that.
It's when I first moved over here to Tamworth for my apprenticeship, my mother came with me because I was only 16. So she got a job over at the Northwestern Area Command, and about 2 weeks into that, she comes home one afternoon and goes, most of the people in the RFS are volunteers, right? And they do all the firefighting. I go, oh, that's really cool. She goes, yeah, you got your meeting with Kingswood Brigade next week. I've signed you up. I was like, oh, okay. And I went, and I wasn't too sure about it, but as soon as I went there and I talked to the people in the brigade, I was like, this is actually really cool. So I'm glad I stuck it out.
Glad that your mum signed you up.
Yeah.
Tom, same question for you. I think it was inevitable. It'd been going on for 4 generations before you. Did you grow up knowing that you would become a member?
Yeah, so I moved back to the farm in 2020, and as soon as I got there, one of the first things I did was sign up for the RFS. I would have signed up earlier, but it was too hard for everyone to get working with children checks. So, yeah.
All right, Beck, back to you. Give us an idea. What was your expectations about joining the Young Endeavour, and how did that play out? How did that change once you were on board? So what were you expecting versus what actually you experienced?
Well, my dad did it when he was younger. He was on one of the first few years of when the boat started, I believe, and he always talked about with fond memories and climbing up the mast in the dark, and it's hectic. And he went from Melbourne to Adelaide, so he did a little bit of the Bass Strait as well, and he said it was absolutely hectic. And so when I saw the opportunity come up, I really wanted to do it. I knew it would be good. I didn't realise I knew it would be well organised because it's Navy run, but I didn't realise just how good it would be. It was a lot better than you could describe at any point in time. Like, I could use all the words in the world and it still wouldn't do it justice. It was incredible. Yeah. Lots of development. Definitely you get out as much as you put in. And yeah, I'd like to think I got a lot out of it.
Exceeded your expectations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Royden, let me ask you. We've seen images, we've seen video. It's on the news. We see the Sydney to Hobart. We see how difficult and hectic that can be. Can you give everybody in the room an idea of what's it like? What are some of the physical challenges? How hard is it? And I've heard that the Young Endeavour has a 30-metre mast. That's the length of almost 4 Category 1 tankers. What is it like climbing it?
Climbing it isn't too bad. You've got some nice ladders to climb up. It's actually when you're going out on the masts, you've got a little rope to stand on. So that can get a bit sketchy sometimes. But no, climbing it's good, and you've got a safety harness. They make sure you're completely safe as you're doing it, so it's good. I'd say the hardest physical part is tacking or like moving the sails around, and but no, climbing the mast. That was pretty easy.
Had you done anything like this before? Were you
No.
a ship guy, a sailing guy?
I'd been on boats, but I'd never been on a sailing ship before, so this was a completely new experience for me. It was really enjoyable.
Tom, it was a new experience for you as well. Hadn't done anything like this before, first time. So let me ask you, the program is designed to take young people out of their comfort zone, put them in a very different environment, an unfamiliar environment, an uncomfortable environment where you have to rely on other people, where you have to work together, you have to come together as a team. What's been the impact for you after the voyage? What did you learn? How's it impacted your life, and has it changed your life in any way?
Yeah, going on the voyage was a massive opportunity, and since that, it's really encouraged me to continue to push myself and to take opportunities. Since I've been on the voyage, I got the opportunity to speak at a vocag in front of 2,000 people about emissions in farming from 27 different countries. I applied to speak at the United Nations Climate Forum in Brazil. Recently, I've been shortlisted for the Youth Advisory Council to the New South Wales Government. And even in my RFS career, I'm going on another deployment next week to Taree, which I'm really excited about. And at the moment, I'm working on my qualifications to be deployed overseas. But even in my brigade, I've been very fortunate that my captain and my group captain have given me heaps of opportunities now that I'm getting to the shed first or second to the shed and taking the truck out and being able to meet the captain out there and take on more responsibility. It's been really exciting.
I might stick with you, Tom, but I want to ask this question of all of you. Out of all the memories that you had from the experience, from the Young Endeavour experience, is there one thing that stands out?
Yeah, I think so. So climbing up the mast at night, there's not really many lights because it doesn't have headlights. But yeah, going right at the top and then sitting up there as it just sways side to side in the pitch black was actually a really cool experience and very peaceful.
Royden, what about you? Was there something that stood out amongst all the experiences that you had?
Yeah, mine is very similar to Tom's, but we were wrapping up the sails in the dead of night, not really being able to see anything, and then the ship would sort of rock to the side, and you'd look down, and all of a sudden, like, the ocean would be just there, and then it would come back to the other side, and yeah, trying to work in the pitch black and not being able to see what you're doing, knowing that the ocean is right there. It was a very cool experience, and yeah, I liked it.
And Beck, same for you or something different?
I'd probably call mine a lot more generic. Like there were definitely a couple of highlights that I remember very vividly, but a lot of it was just sort of looking out at the sort of the cliff line on the side of Tasmania, and even just in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of water around you, just how small you are and just how much it like nothing really matters. It was it was very peaceful, like the guys said, but it was very, I don't know, I got a lot of intrinsic searching out of a lot of those more quiet moments. Obviously, when you're hauling in a sail, you're more focused on muscles and trying not to let it go and doing it right and not having everybody yell at you or anything like that. But definitely a lot more sort of coming off it and feeling a lot more invigorated than I thought I would, considering how tiring it was. But yeah, sort of ready to, like a new lease on life or whatever. Yeah, all motivational stuff, that sort of thing. Like, it was just really, I found it very, very good, yeah.
You've described just then, I guess, that it's given you a sense of perspective. Was that your main learning? I don't want to put words into your mouth, but was that your main learning from the voyage? Is there one thing that stands out now that you're looking back, now that it's in the rearview mirror? Is there one learning that stands out for you? Something that you've taken away from that experience?
Yeah, probably perspective around not just the world and yourself, but the people around you, but probably more so what you put in is what you get out of everything, like experiences, relationships, yourself. So probably more that, because you can sometimes look around on the boat and there were people who sort of hit the hard times, especially with the seasickness, and tapped out, which is completely up to them. But I do think they missed out on a lot of the experiences on the boat, because they did reach that threshold, which is okay, but what you put in is definitely what you get out. And if you can get past that roadblock, wherever that is for you, you definitely get into this whole different world of new roadblocks, but you definitely get further. Yeah, so that's probably my one, is you get in what you get out.
That's great. Royden, what about you? What have you learnt from the voyage? Is there something that stands out for you?
I guess how quickly you need to learn to adapt to a situation. I don't know about everyone else who I went on the voyage with, but I wasn't as prepared as I probably should have been. So I just sort of got on the boat and was surrounded by a bunch of strangers, and all of a sudden there was a job that needed to be done, and we all just sort of had to go, rightio, you go over there, I'll go over here, let's get it done. So it was really good, and learning how to communicate quickly and effectively with other people when everything seems to be going wrong.
Which is life lessons, right? Things that you end up using for work, you end up using for RFS. It's something that you use all the time, those skills.
Exactly, yeah. So it's really good.
Tom, what about for you? Was there something that you've taken away, a learning?
Yeah, I think trust and teamwork. You definitely can't sail a sailing ship by yourself. There's a sail in the front called the jib, and it has a lot of pressure on it from the wind. And if you wanted to, what we call tack, so change directions, you have to change the direction of the jib. And so say it's 2 a.m. and they want to change directions, all 24 youth crew have to get up on deck, and we form a toboggan, and we go 1, 2, heave, 1, 2, heave. And it requires the whole group working as one organism to operate the ship. So I think that was really cool over the 10 days, learning to trust each other and work together, because without that, you couldn't sail the ship.
Okay, I've got a question for all of you. I might actually put the question to start with, I might put to you, Scott. What would you say to young RFS members if they're considering an application for the Gary Barton Memorial Scholarship and to apply to have this whole Young Endeavour experience? What would you say to young members?
Strongly encourage them to apply for this scholarship to go on the ship. Like they've said, it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone, testing yourself. Royden just said, being part of a team, doesn't matter where you are. If you're not part of a team and that team is not effective, then you won't achieve your outcomes. And we've heard many stories over the years of the challenges of the ship, and particularly on the last one coming from Hobart to Sydney, where it was at 55 degrees, I think, for most of the crossing of Bass Strait. tested a lot of those people, and particularly for us, the reason we chose the Young Endeavour is because it is manned by the Navy, and I know there's a couple of other training ships out there, but for us to have that security that the Navy is running it, for something to go wrong, they will throw the whole Navy at getting those people off, and particularly with the last crossing, the captain said that they were halfway across Bass Strait. It wasn't pleasant. They'd tightened most of the hatches. I think there was one left at the back that they could use, and they contemplated whether they would return to Hobart or continue to Eden, and a decision was made to go to Eden because it was going to be potentially a little safer. So to have that trust and in those people to look after our young adults, I think is paramount. And pleased, we are lucky that we can send 4 per year, which is fabulous. We want to extend that out a little bit further. We had Natalie Went from the South Coast as an Oppo 1, do the same journey as Royden, and I think to extend that out to an Oppo 1 staff member in future, I think will certainly develop their leadership, encourage their involvement with the association as well, and to be a great advocate for what the program can do for our leaders.
So I want to ask each of the three of you the same question. What would you say to young RFS members? Just before I get to that, I have got a very specific question I'm happy for any of you to answer, because I just know it's something that people are thinking about. What are the sleeping arrangements like on board? Anybody want to... Beck, you want to give us an insight into what that's like?
Well, I'm not sure. I know they swapped around for Royden's voyage, but so there's a 12 berth at the front of the boat, and then there's 2 separate 6 berths. So on my voyage, the girls were in the 2 separate 6 berths and the boys were in the 12, and then they do swap that around. So you don't really get a choice of where you sleep. You get assigned your bunk. The sleeping arrangements are okay. Like, you get the mattress and you bring your own bedding and everything like that. I mean, it is a ship, a ship, and so they are little, and you have got the fall covers that, depending on who you ask, don't necessarily work. But honestly, there are so many more things to be worried about than sleep, and usually you're that tired at the end of the day that you could be sleeping on rocks and you'd still get a good night's sleep. So yeah, I think sleep is probably the last of your issues. You probably should be more worried about the bathrooms and the showers, falling out of them.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Give us an idea, how does one take a shower when a boat is tipping?
So they're just normal showers, but they don't have doors, they just have curtains. So you got to hold on tight when you're in there. Yeah. I was very lucky that when we were crossing the Bass Strait, no one else was in the bathroom, and we hit a particularly big wave, and I went flying across the room.
Right. While
I was in the shower. So, to any young people listening, hold on tight.
Good advice.
And I might also mention, when we went sailing, they said at the start that most people would end up feeding the fish. As we do, and I actually thought, no, I'm not that soft. No, I'll be fine then. Come day 3, yep, really.
You fed the fish.
Yep.
Well, what was the food like? As in the actual food? Food quality.
The food was really, really good.
Yeah, no. Steve was our chef, but I'm sure all the chefs are great. But yeah, no, the food's really good. Yeah.
So then I will ask you, now that you've given us some of those insights, what would you say to young people out there, young RFS members who are keen to give it a go and to apply? Royden, happy to start with you.
However many seasickness tablets you have, bring double that. You will go through them, and you're going to need them. So that's
you would encourage people to do it anyway?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's like, I still talk to a lot of the people that I was on the voyage with, even though we live in completely different parts of Australia. I've made some really good friends through it, and overall it was just a great experience. So do it, bring as many seasickness tablets as you can, and enjoy yourself.
Beck, is there something that you would say to encourage people? Have you been encouraging people How do you try and entice people who are a little bit suspicious or a little bit doubting as to whether they should apply?
I think you're foolish if you don't apply for it. I mean, it's an opportunity that is open to all of the youth of Australia, and yet very few get the opportunity to go, let alone in a forum like this where it's very well looked after and you get the scholarship to go. So I think you learn more on it than what you'd expect you would, and different things than you expect you would. You're like, oh yeah, know how to sail a boat and get some leadership out of it. But there's so much that you get out. You put more in, you get more out. But you've got the access, you're in the environment, you're already, you can't lose. It's such a great experience. You learn, you learn so much. There's no losing. It's a win-win. And it's a great opportunity to be able to access through the RFS, which we're all really fortunate to be chosen for. So, just go for it. There's no losing.
Okay, thanks, Beck. And Tom, I'm going to ask you. You and I were chatting about this yesterday. You're very passionate about getting more people involved just to be members, let alone to apply for something like this. Can you share with us what are some of your thoughts about how you can get young people to become involved in the RFS and also to do this program?
So I'm really keen to see more young people join the RFS because for me, as much as I love helping the community through the RFS has actually changed me as a person and made me a better person through serving my community. So I would love that opportunity for other young people to be able to join. But also the RFSA, being involved with them has been exceptional. They do a great job supporting us on the fire ground and also providing amazing opportunities like the Young Endeavour. So the first thing I would say to a young person is sign up to the RFSA. And after that, get involved in something like Young Endeavour. When I wear my shirt around town, I'll be at the shopping centre and bump into someone who says, oh, you did the Young Endeavour. I did it 20 years ago. And they still have such vivid memories of the experience. It's truly something that you'll never forget. And I guarantee you'll never be upset for giving something a go. You'll learn heaps. And really, I'm amazed by the conversations I have with people who've been on it ages ago and still remember what it was like.
All right, thanks. Scott, let me just ask you, it's more of a procedural admin question. If there are people here, if there are people online, if there are people here who have children or grandchildren or friends who want to do it, what do you do? I know that you don't need any sailing experience, but what do people need to do?
No, so we'll launch and I'm looking for Sharon so I'll get the right month here, but we'll launch the scholarship around August, September, and it closes in November, and that's when we have that really difficult decision on who we take. This year we've got 4 young people going. I think the first one goes in around August, and I think they're sailing from Fremantle around to Albany, and then I think there's one from Albany to South Australia. So look, we post that on our website. We post it out to we email it to every member. We send it to fire control centres. We send it through the young members group, and we try and encourage as many as we can. Brigade captains, I think, given the involvement the captains have on the application and what they write, they are so proud of the young people that they put up to go on these things. That for me is also inspirational.
Awesome. Well, as I said at the beginning, it is not a comfortable thing for most people to come up here on stage, and I think you've seen 3 examples of 3 incredible young people who have done something very, very special, but just their involvement in the RFSA and their involvement in this experience. But to come up here and share your thoughts and your takeaways, it's very, very much appreciated. Beck is now the most relaxed person in the room. Royden and Tom are relaxed as well. Could you please join me and thank Beck and Royden and Tom? Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Feel free to make your way off that side. Thanks again. Thank you, and thank you.